Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're doing a deep dive into, well, a really fascinating transcript. It's from a YouTube video.
Right, and it makes some pretty far-reaching claims, unusual ones.
Definitely. The source is titled Informe du Commander Ashtar. And it says it's a direct message, supposedly, from the Galactic Confederation of Light.
Channeled through someone called Commander Ashtar.
Exactly. And there's another bit, too, a message from Lady Nada.
Yeah, two distinct parts.
So our mission here, for you listening, is really to explore these striking statements.
Give you a kind of shortcut, to understand the core ideas.
And the surprising narrative it weaves together.
It starts off really strong, too.
Yeah, right out of the gate, it hits you with this massive declaration.
That humanity is facing its most decisive test.
Yeah, and the stakes? It says it's about the collective soul.
Spiritual freedom and the, quote, sovereignty of the human race. Pretty high stakes.
Absolutely.
And what's really interesting, I think, is how it takes current events, global tensions, and reframes them. It uses phrases like the fire, the sacred cities.
The sound cutting, the silence of the night, very evocative.
Totally. And it says these aren't just like random things happening. They're signs of a profound transition leading towards a destiny that's already pre-written, apparently.
A pre-written destiny. Wow. Okay.
Suggests a very deliberate unfolding. Almost scripted.
And it gets specific about places too, doesn't it? It mentions Israel.
It does. Assigns it a central role.
Why? What's the reason given?
It says Israel has this role in the fulfillment of an ancient prophecy.
Okay.
A prophecy that, according to the text, is being fulfilled with surprising precision.
Surprising precision. How does that elaborate on that? What's supposed to happen?
Well, it predicts point blank that Jerusalem will be shaken.
Shaken.
Yeah. And that chaos will reach its peak.
Sounds pretty grim.
It does, but here's the twist. This chaos, it's framed as just the beginning.
Okay, not the end.
Right, a prelude, it says, to an unprecedented evolutionary transition.
An evolutionary transition.
A point of no return in human history. And then it says, behind the pain is the portal of revelation.
A portal of revelation.
And this is key. Celestial intervention will manifest.
Celestial intervention. So the chaos isn't meaningless, it's a catalyst.
That's exactly how it's presented, a catalyst for a huge, divinely orchestrated shift.
Okay, so from these prophecies, it then brings in these galactic players.
Yeah, Galactic Confederation of Light.
And Commander Ashtar, you mentioned him. He apparently launched a cosmic vibrational decree.
That's the term used, yes.
What does that even mean? What's in this decree?
Well, Commander Ashtar in this story is a leader in this confederation.
Gotcha.
And the decree he supposedly issued, it announces the dissolution of the forces of shadows.
A solution, okay.
The text claims these shadow forces have, initiated their last movement, their final play. But it says, the light will not recede. And very directly, we will intervene.
Wow.
Yeah.
So direct cosmic engagement.
That's how it reads, a decisive moment where higher forces are stepping in.
This leads to that really profound statement you mentioned earlier.
Ah, yes. What collapses before your eyes is not the real world. It is the illusion.
That's a big one. How does it explain that, this idea of a planetary reset or deep purification?
It talks about the return of the solar lineage.
Vapor lineage.
Yeah, which seems to imply, some kind of ancient divine heritage within humanity itself being reawakened.
Okay.
And to underline this shift, the material mentions fleets of light.
Fleets? Like ships?
Interstellar ships of the Confederation of Free Worlds specifically.
Wow, where are they?
Positioned at strategic points on the planet.
So a very active presence then.
Active, yes, though maybe not physical in the way we usually think. It implies they're there to help facilitate this transformation.
Okay, if these forces are intervening, how does the awakening actually happen for people, individually? It mentions things like solar pulses.
Right. Stellar codes, vibrational activations.
What it is meant to be.
According to the text, these are like energetic transmissions being radiated out to awaken ancient memories. But only, it says, in souls that are already ready.
So it's not for everyone necessarily, it's targeted.
It seems so. Like an energetic reprogramming from a cosmic level for those prepared for it.
And this connects to maybe the biggest claim. The solar flash.
Oh yeah, that's probably the most impactful one.
Yeah.
The central sun is preparing to emit the great solar flash.
That will completely redraw the matrix of reality.
Exactly. Redraw reality itself.
That's huge. Is this supposed to be far off in the future?
Not according to this. It emphasizes the event is already on its way.
Already on its way.
And it claims proof, or maybe evidence, is recorded in Mayan tablets in the Akasha records.
The Akasha records. That's like a universal library in esoteric thought, right? Sort of, yeah. A record of everything. And interestingly, it also says this event is recorded now in your own heart.
Wow. So cosmically huge, but also deeply personal.
That's the implication. Recorded across different mystical traditions and felt internally.
Okay, with all these huge cosmic events happening, does the source say anything about what individuals should do? Is there a role for people in this?
Oh, absolutely. It issues a direct convocation, a call out.
To who?
To light warriors.
Light warriors, okay.
These are people who, the source says, came here specifically to anchor the new earth.
Anchor it?
Yeah. And to liberate those who still walk in the shadows.
How are they described?
They carry in their essence a code of unconditional love, a code that does not fear death or lies. It identifies them as a soul on a mission.
So certain people have a specific job in this unfolding drama.
And it's exactly the idea presented. Key players.
And Commander Ashtar, in his message, he says, the sky is approaching the earth.
And the seals are opening.
Leading to the Golden Age. Yes, the beginning of the Golden Age, the fall of illusory powers, and the beginning of humanity's final liberation.
And it explicitly states the end of times is being fulfilled.
Quite a statement about where we are in history, according to this source.
Definitely. How does it view current world events, like the conflicts we see, particularly in the Middle East?
It offers a really specific interpretation. It says they are not random.
Not random? Then what?
They were strategically placed, it claims.
Placed? By who? For what purpose?
The implication is the forces of shadow, the purpose, to generate emotional, spiritual, and energetic collapse.
Wow. Okay, so deliberate destabilization on multiple levels.
Exactly. To extinguish your hope, your faith, make people feel like God has abandoned them.
And the source calls this
the great lie. Explicitly.
Yeah.
It frames these conflicts as a deception within a larger spiritual battle.
But it doesn't leave it there, right? It offers a counterclaim.
A very strong one. It insists the response will come from above.
Why is it so sure about that?
It bases this on what it sees as fundamental truths. The will of the source cannot be falsified.
Okay.
The frequency of love cannot be manipulated.
Right.
And what has been sealed in the hearts of the awakened will never be impeded.
So, a kind of defiance based on core spiritual principles?
Precisely. A belief that higher forces and love itself are ultimately unstoppable.
And this leads to the birth of
a freer, more elevated, and conscious new Earth.
Does it mention any practical, or maybe not practical, but specific mechanisms for protection during this?
It does. It mentions spheres of light.
Spheres of light.
Acting as quantum shields in the etheric realm.
Etheric. So non-physical shields.
That's the idea. Protecting the planet's energy network, its sacred mesh, even while physical bombs explode.
Interesting.
And it also says beings of high consciousness are helping to sustain this mesh, assisting, but without violating human free will.
Okay, so there's the message from Commander Ashtar, but then there's the second part from Lady Nada.
Right. And this part shifts the focus geographically.
To South America, specifically Peru.
Yeah, it talks about a portal of ascension being activated in Peru.
A portal of ascension. Why the focus there?
Well, according to Lady Nada, there's a huge energetic transfiguration happening.
Just in Peru?
No, much wider. It lists Peru, Bolivia, Argentina, Chile, Brazil, Venezuela, Colombia, Ecuador, basically the whole continent.
The entire continent. What's happening to it?
It's being consecrated, the text says, as a pillar of planetary light, ready to sustain the new humanity. It positions South America as absolutely central to the planet's spiritual upgrade.
Does it get more specific than the whole continent?
It does. It names places like the valleys of Urks, Mistedal, and other sacred centers.
Why those places?
They're said to be energetically interconnected because the electromagnetic field is thinner there.
Thinner field, meaning?
It facilitates interdimensional contact, makes it easier, supposedly.
Easier to connect with other dimensions or realities.
That's the claim. And this thinning of the veil, as it's often called, is also mentioned for Argentina and Uruguay.
What's happening there?
It's described as a new reality being born from within the current one. Like two realities existing side by side with one emerging.
Okay, so summing up the South America part, the claim is huge.
Oh yeah, it flat out says South America will be the cradle of the new Earth.
The cradle.
Attracting people whose higher selves already know they need to be there.
And this is where the divine plan manifests.
Yes, the divine plan for the new Earth and new humanity. It even mentions inner cities about to emerge.
Inner cities, like subterranean or energetic.
It doesn't specify fully, but leans towards energetic or interdimensional places becoming accessible, and other planetary centers are redirecting their energy southward.
So a massive energetic shift focusing on South America.
That's the picture painted. It's being prepared to receive the codes of the new consciousness.
Marking it as the prelude to the great planetary transformation.
Exactly. It positions the continent as the epicenter for what's coming next, globally.
Wow. Okay. So what does this all mean for us, trying to process this?
Yeah. Good question.
We've covered this incredibly vast scope. I mean, galactic interventions, cosmic decrees.
Influencing human destiny, yeah. Specific readings of world conflicts.
The idea that reality itself is an illusion that's collapsing.
And this emergence of a new reality, with places like South America playing a starring role.
It's a lot to take in.
It certainly presents this huge, overarching narrative, a grand plan unfolding.
Whether or not it fits with, how we normally understand the world.
Right. It doesn't really care about conventional understanding or science, clearly. It lays out its own vision.
A vision of cosmic forces directly interacting with humanity, shaping our future.
Yeah, offering this really comprehensive, though definitely unconventional, blueprint for making sense of, everything that's happening.
So, considering all these profound claims we've just walked through, the global reset idea, the hidden agendas it alleges behind conflicts, these cosmic interventions, what new questions does this deep dive raise for you listening out there?
Yeah, what does it make you wonder about the nature of reality itself? Or about humanity's place, maybe, within a much larger cosmic story than we usually consider?
Definitely something to think about.